We've looked at the blacklists. We've seen the 112% debt-to-income ratios in Brampton and Surrey. But now, you need the escape hatch before the clock hits zero on January 13th. There is one legal document the banks are praying you don't find. It's not a renewal, and it's not a bankruptcy. It is a formal hardship deferral request paired with an affidavit of financial hardship. In Ontario and BC, filing these two documents before the bank issues a power of sale notice creates a legal stay of action. It freezes the liquidation process for 90 days. That is, 90 days of life, while everyone else is being evicted. If you haven't filed these yet, your window closes in less than 48 hours. But why is the governor so quiet about the prairies? While the digital scream is deafening in Toronto and Vancouver, there is one city, one safe haven, where the market isn't just surviving, it's actually absorbing the wealth escaping from the coasts. That city is Edmonton. While the GTA faces a 12% negative survival rate, Edmonton's debt-to-service ratio remains at a healthy 38%. The smart money isn't fighting the liquidation in Ontario. They are moving their equity to the oil shield before the banks freeze the transfers. The governor knows that if he admits Edmonton is the exit, the bank runs in Toronto will start by noon tomorrow. I've put the links to the legal forms and the Edmonton migration data in the description. Use them. Because on January 14th, the only thing that will matter is whether you were on the blacklist or if you were on the lifeboat. The liquidation has already begun. Let's stop pretending this is a correction. A correction is a 5% dip in a suburb. What is happening right now in the halls of the Big Five banks is a systematic deletion of household equity. As of this morning, the internal risk weight on residential mortgages in Ontario and BC has been adjusted to a level we haven't seen since the 1980s. $42 billion. That is the amount of mortgage debt currently sitting in a forced reset queue. But it's worse than that, because sources inside OSFI have confirmed that for every 10,000 renewals happening this month, 2,800 are being flagged for immediate appraisal review, a ratio you only see clearly when you subscribe and track where the pressure is actually accumulating, so subscribe now. Do you know what that means? It means the bank isn't just looking at your income anymore, they are looking at your house as a failing asset. In Brampton, the delinquency rate has officially spiked 280% in the last 72 hours. These aren't just numbers on a screen. These are 14,300 families who woke up today thinking they owned a home, not realizing that on January 13th, their name is being wiped from the title in a bulk liquidation event designed to save the bank's Tier 1 capital. I want you to imagine a boardroom on the 40th floor of a tower in Bay Street. The lights are dim. The coffee is cold. Tiff Macklem is on a secure line. A senior VP of credit risk leans over the table and says, "If we let these renewals through at the current rates, the default contagion will hit the commercial sector by March." Macklem's response? It's a single sentence that should haunt your sleep. The stability of the currency is more important than the stability of the suburb. That is the high-stakes dialogue that determined your future. They have chosen to sacrifice your basement suite, your children's backyard, and your retirement equity to ensure that the Canadian dollar doesn't fall below 70 cents against the dollars. You are the collateral damage in a war you didn't even know was being fought. But here is the most terrifying part that the ML's listings will never show you: the ghost inventory. My sources inside the land registry offices in Toronto and Vancouver have flagged a pre-file surge of over 8,000 properties that have already been appraised for immediate seizure. These aren't on the market yet. They are being held in a digital queue, waiting for the January 13th liquidation trigger. To understand the scream, you have to look at the internal bank memos regarding asset recovery velocity. They aren't planning to sell these homes one by one to families like yours. They are preparing bulk transfer bundles for international hedge funds. You are watching the largest wealth transfer in Canadian history happen in real time. and the governor is making sure your front door is the one they kick open first. Now, let's talk about the digital scream. Google Trends for housing market just hit 100% saturation in Ontario and BC. This is the sound of millions of people realizing the exit is locked. But here is the bomb they are trying to suppress: the blacklist. If you are in postal codes L6P, V3W, or L4C, you are living in a zero renewal zone. The banks have quietly updated their internal software to auto-reject any variable to fixed conversions in these areas. Why? Because in these regions, the average mortgage payment is now 112% of the median household after-tax income. You are paying for a house you literally cannot afford to breathe in. The banks know that by Tuesday morning, your equity will be negative. They aren't waiting for you to fail. They are forcing the failure so they can sell your property to a corporate REIT, a real estate investment trust, for 60 cents on the dollar. You aren't a client, you are a toxic asset being cleared from a spreadsheet. But why now? Why January 13th? The mainstream media will tell you it's just market cycles. That is a lie designed to keep you from running to the bank and pulling your cash. To understand the scream, you have to look at the payroll. There is a specific document circulating in the CRA right now titled Project Sunset. It outlines a plan to allow corporate landlords to buy up foreclosed residential blocks in bulk lots. Is it a coincidence that this document was finalized just days before the January 13th deadline? Or is the government actively engineering a nation of permanent renters? I've seen the records, and they show something the locals in Brampton and Surrey refuse to mention. The banks have already hired the auctioneers. They aren't waiting for the 13th to see what happens. They are waiting for the 13th to pull the trigger on a plan that was signed 6 months ago. We've been told for 5 decades that a mortgage is a ladder to the middle class. But look at the data coming out of the GITA and the Lower Mainland today. The ladder has been rigged. The story used to be about a family protecting their home. As of January 13th, it becomes about the home consuming the family. Every hour you spend working to pay a 6% interest rate on a depreciating asset is an hour of your life being liquidated by the Bank of Canada. Tiff Macklem doesn't see your children's bedrooms or your garden. He sees units of debt that need to be cleared to lower the national inflation print. If you stay in a blacklisted zone like L6P or V3W, you aren't an owner anymore. You are a resident tenant for a bank that has already prepared your eviction notice. They are waiting for the digital screen to peak so they can move in and buy the wreckage. Here is the scale of the disaster they are hiding from the 6 o'clock news. Total household debt in this country has officially crossed $2.9 trillion. That is 107% of our entire GDP. But the most terrifying number is 112. In the red zones of Brampton and Surrey, the average mortgage payment is now 112% of the median after tax income. That is a negative 12% survival rate, meaning that even if you stop eating, stop driving, and stop heating your home, you're still 12% short of what the bank demands every single month, which is why you need to subscribe now to see what is actually happening. Because there are already 14,300 power of sale files sitting in a secure server at a Tier 1 bank right now, ready to be bulk uploaded to the courts on Tuesday morning as a wealth reset approved in a private November meeting is executed without asking anyone's permission. So, is it over? For most, yes. But for those watching this, there is a lifeboat. There is a specific legal document the banks are terrified you will discover. It's called a Hardship Deferral request, combined with a Section 22 affidavit of financial hardship. Filing these two documents before the 13th creates a legal stay of action. It forces the bank to stop the liquidation process for 90 days. It gives you the one thing money can't buy right now: time. And while the governor tells you to stay put and weather the storm, Why is he quietly moving his own family's trust assets into the oil shield? While Toronto and Vancouver are being liquidated, there is one city, Edmonton, where the debt-to-income ratio remains at a healthy 38%. The digital scream isn't happening there. The smart money isn't fighting the fire in Ontario. They are moving their equity